This videocast will show you how to create mortgage payment calculator by using a PMT function, and also how to define names in Excel spreadsheet, apply goal seek, and create data table. Please download the file that is provided to you in the class folder, payment calculator start file. Once you have it ready, please follow my steps. So the very first thing we're going to look at this area, the mortgage payment calculator. Here we see all the items that are relevant for creating a payment calculator. The very first one, the date, actually is provided by a function now. Now will show you the current date and current time. As you've noticed, now doesn't have any arguments because it retrieves the information from the computer clock. The next item is house. Then we have price and down payment. So now we're going to figure out the loan amount, and the loan amount is actually going to be the difference between price and the down payment. So I can go ahead and type in equal sign and then click on the data for price minus data for down payment. Press enter. So now we have the actual loan amount that we need to figure how much we're going to pay in monthly payments to close the mortgage in 15 years. Our term is 15 years and our rate is 4.125%. Now, when I look at the loan amount and say, okay, so loan amount is actually price, total price minus down payment, that makes sense. If I look at it and say, okay, the loan amount is D6 minus D7, that doesn't make much sense. So what we're going to do is actually change the names of the cells, as you see in the name box, to more meaningful names. We're actually going to define names that correspond to the items that are listed in the left column. So the very first one we're going to do is the price. I'm going to click on cell D6, then I'll go to Formula tab, and in the Defined Names group, I'm going to click on Define Name, and it suggests the price as a name for this cell. Since that's exactly what I want to appear in my formulas, I'm going to click OK. I'm going to do the same for down payment. I'll go to Define Name, click on Define Name, Down Payment. Now, one thing I'd like you to pay attention to, when I define a name, it actually creates an absolute cell reference. And do you see that in the Refers To box? It says that this name, down payment, refers to sheet 1, and that's exactly the sheet 1. I didn't change the name here. And it indicates the cell D7. So down payment is going to be an absolute address for D7, which otherwise could have been indicated as $D, $7. So it's going to be unique. If we copy it, it's still going to indicate or point to D7 cell. It's not going to get updated if I copy it to a different column or row. So I'm going to click OK. Another thing, if I change this, the tab name, and let's say change it to calculator, okay, press enter. And now I will click on the next Define Names tab. I'm going to define name for the loan amount. So I'll click on Define Name. Now it applies the loan amount as the name. And now instead of sheet 1, it actually refers to the new tab name calculator. and the cell D8. Again, absolute cell reference. I'm going to click OK. So now instead of D6 minus D7, I'm ready to enter a more meaningful formula here for loan amount. I'm just going to delete this one and I'm going to type equals and then price minus down payment. And if you look at the formula bar or if you look at the cell itself, now the loan amount actually equals price minus down payment, which makes total sense. Press enter. And now let's go ahead and define names for all these items in column E. So I'm going to click on the corresponding cell in column F and define name. That's going to be rate. This is going to be term. This is going to be monthly payments. And this is going to be total interest and total cost. Okay. If you click in any of these cells, now in the name box, you see instead of this being F6, it actually shows monthly payment as the cell address. So now we need to figure out how to calculate the monthly payment for the terms that we have here. 15 years, 4.125%, and loan amount 344,000. So to determine the monthly payment, we're going to use PMT function, and we can do it in two different ways. We can just start typing this function, or we can go and click on insert function. So let's do the insert function. Okay, so I will need to find the regular payments, monthly payments. So I'm just going to type payment or payments, click on go, and you need to figure out which of the recommended functions you're going to use for this specific case. Obviously, you need to know something about the functions you're planning to use, because those complex financial formulas may be hard to just figure out by random search. So we're going to use PMT function. I'm going to click on it, and it actually calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments at a constant interest rate. That's exactly what we have. We're going to have constant monthly payments, and we have fixed interest, 4.125%. I'm going to click OK. Now it asks us to enter the arguments that it's going to use in this function. The very first argument is the rate, and so our rate is indicated here, 4.125%, but this is an annual rate. And we're talking about monthly payments. So to figure out what the monthly rate is going to be, I'm going to have to divide the current annual rate by 12. Okay. The second argument this function requires is the total number of payments for the loan. So obviously, we have 15 years, and again, since we're talking about monthly payments, each year has 12 months, so it's going to be the term times 12 months. The third argument this function requires is the present value, which is the total amount that the series of future payments is worth exactly now. And this is basically our loan amount, the amount that we're going to borrow from the bank. So all I have to do here is to type in loan amount and click OK. As you see, this is our monthly payment. Now, because it's a negative number, it's borrowed money, it's not income, it's expense, it's currently highlighted in red and has parentheses, which is a typical practice of indicating a negative amount. Because it's not always convenient in calculators to use negative numbers, I'm just going for the convenience purposes to reverse the sign. So I'll go to the formula bar in between equal sign and the beginning of the function PMT. I'm just going to add negative sign, minus, and this will reverse negative sign to positive sign. Two negatives gives you positive, right? So again, this is done just for the convenience. So this is our monthly payments. Now we need to figure out the total interest. So let's go to F7. Total interest is going to be basically how much we'll pay minus loan amount, right? How much we're going to pay during 15 years, each year consisting of 12 months, and then we'll subtract from this total pay our original loan, and that'll show us how much we paid in interest only. So it's going to be equal to monthly payments times term times 12 months minus loan amount. And if you need to review this formula again, you're going to click on this cell and this formula appears in this formula bar. Okay. So as you see, you're going to pay almost 118,000 in just pure interest. And the last step we're going to do here is to calculate the total cost. And obviously it's going to be the original price plus the total interest. So if original price was here, 429,000, this cell shows the total cost for the entire mortgage. So it's going to be almost $547,000. So this is mortgage payment calculator. Now, if let's say I want to figure out how to make, instead of 2,500 per month, how I can pay, let's say 2,200. If you go to Data tab, in the forecast group, you will see what if analysis. If I click on the what if analysis, one of the options is goal seek. So if I click on this goal seek and I want to figure out to set my monthly payments to 2,200, so the first thing I need to do is to indicate which cell I'm going to change the output in. Now with goal seek, the only limitation is that you have to use a cell with a formula. If it's a constant number, the goal seek won't apply its search mechanism to it because there's nothing it can do. So remember, the goal seek operates only with functions. So I'm going to set this cell F6 to the value of 2,200. And obviously I want to see how I can get to this number by changing the rate. So by changing cell, I'm going to click on the rate. So F4. I'm going to click OK. And now it calculated the numbers, and I see that in order for me to pay 2,200, my rate over 15 years needs to be less than 2%, 1.9. Now if I click cancel, it'll cancel the calculations, and I'll just show it to you one more time how to apply goal seek. So let's say instead of changing the rate, I want to change the down payment and see how it can affect the monthly payment. So in order to pay 2,200 instead of 2,500, I want to increase my down payment. Let's see how much I actually need to pay. So I'm going to click on goal seek. The set value is still F6. I want to change it to 2200. The rate is going to stay the same. The term is still going to stay the same, but I'm going to change the down payment. So I'm going to click on this D7 cell, click OK. And it tells me that in order to pay 2200, my down payment needs to be 134,000. Okay, I'm going to click cancel. So that's how we use goal seek, which can be found in this what if analysis. The other option that what if analysis offers is to create a data table, and this basically allows to do the same as goal seek, except that goal seek is temporary, right? We canceled it, we just played the scenario, then we canceled it after we saw the results. The data table allows you to see the results of multiple inputs all at the same time. So the first thing we're going to do, I have already typed in the different rates. Now we need to figure out how we're going to auto-populate this table. The very first thing, we need to create some input. So for the rate 125%, our monthly payment is shown here, right, in cell F6. So I'm just going to type here equals F6. The total interest for this rate is shown in F7. So I'm just going to type F7. And the total cost is shown in F8. So again, I'm just going to type in total cost over here, F8. So the first line right here just shows us the current terms of the mortgage. Now I want to play with different rates, and I want to see how it's all affecting my monthly payments, total interest, and total cost. So I'm just going to select the entire range from C13 to F23, and I'll go to what if analysis, click on data table, and because it's input by the column, so I'm going to click on the column, and this is where our rate resides, right? So I'm just going to click F4 and click OK, and here we are. So that immediately creates a range, how much you're going to pay with total interest and total cost in case of these variations in the current rate. Okay, so the last thing I'd like to do is to actually create the borders like we did for the mortgage payment calculator. So I'm just selecting the range, just everything. I'm going to go home, go to the borders. That's located in the font group. So click on borders, and you can choose one of these, or you can click on more borders and just choose the style. I'll say this. Choose the color, one of the colors. If you don't see anything here, you can click on more colors, and in the custom color, choose the one that you like. For example, this. And then if you want to have borders, you can click and indicate where you want to have them. You can have only 2 borders, 3 borders, or all 4 of them. Or you can choose on one of these preset options. Click OK. And now when I'm looking at the mortgage payment calculator, it seems like these borders are slightly wider. So I can definitely modify my borders. Again, you can either click on thick outside borders like this, or you can go to more borders and change the thickness, for example, like this. Again, verify the color. It seems like this color and this color slightly mismatched, so I can go and try to match them a bit better. Seems like this is a bit better now. Okay, and again, just double checking that my borders all work. So I'm just clicking on those and click OK. And so now the match is better than at the first try. So this concludes this video cast. The next video cast will show how to create amortization schedule.